Ladies and gentlemen, hello. What is up with y'all? This is Christian from the Bob Chronicles. Signing in once again, back at with y'all again. You know what I'm saying? And I got some that's like very interesting, and then got like some crazy ass tea that I'm looking to spit to y'all today. And it's what those self-proclaimed get rich schemes that everyone's really dreaming about, like. This like you trying to dream to make the lottery and like get the millions and do whatever the fuck you want to do, especially in this crazy ass climate that we're in, which we may be approaching a recession very soon. Dealing with inflation, right? Dealing with high gas prices. People really trying to go back to work. Exploding population in the country, especially in the world, right? Shortage of goods at times. Dealing with like higher costs. Higher apartment costs, rents being raised, housing market definitely being hiked, people dealing with the great resignation with their employees. It's been like a trip over the past 2 years, ever since the pandemic hit the States, right? And people have been going berserk, you know what I mean? And which could cause some people to literally get desperate in times of need, which leads to the position of all these like illegal get rich quick schemes and all that stuff that actually come about. Before I go further, I want to try and stress this particular point to you guys with in regards to this matter. Basically, is this, normally, when you're dealing with networking, you deal with a lot of people. You deal with like a lot of potential acquaintances to try to help them either get you with your job or deal with like another business you want to try and build with. You always make sure that they have contact information, thorough contact information, so that they know who you are thoroughly. They know basically where you stand. They know what your mindset is. You can, even if you ask some deep questions and see what their mindset is, like what's your purpose, why are you doing these types of things, you know what I'm saying? You can still look those things up on a LinkedIn if they have a LinkedIn or like a Bitly that they have. Take a moment to actually get to know these people thoroughly. Take a moment to get to know the companies that they work for, resources that they work for, and if they are basically selling like a good opportunity that they claim to have that can basically get you all fully guaranteed, whatever it may be. Always make sure that they have like a pamphlet or they have like a digital website to make sure that they have like a thorough, concrete, transparent plan laid out to how you're going to get to that end goal, so that you'll be able to take the time to read and analyze and ask certain questions to see how they're able to make it to that position, rather than someone stringing you along with all these random appointments and everything, right? Because you see someone actually trying to string you along, and they'll try to discuss it like little by little, but not actually giving you thoroughly honest questions in regards to like thoroughly honest points in regards to those things that you'll be able to figure out for yourself. It could be very risky, and more than likely you could be in a whirlwind of trouble, at the very least civilly, at the very worst, unfortunately, criminally, right? So always make sure that they provide very thorough information. They have thorough links about themselves and, about their workplace and about the models that they thoroughly present to actually get you where you need to go thoroughly. Or if they have certain books that they will want you to read in regards to those methods, look at those books as well. If they do not provide you with those types of information, let them be ghosting. And I will continue to stress this out coming to the end of the episode, because what I will be discussing are basic pyramid schemes that could get you in a fucking world of hurt. Right now in this episode here, I definitely will be discussing about the illegal pyramid schemes. And then when in like another future episode to come, I don't know when that's going to be, I will be discussing about the legal pyramid schemes in regards to that. So this right here is like a good intro to this episode. I'm about to dish out. So, y'all bear with me for a bit. Let's get to this little quick break, because it's definitely going to be some chaos coming in regards to that. All right. So be forewarned. Around 2013, 2014, while I was currently applying for a graduate school for applied math back in Rockland County, right? I was looking for some way to make some side additional income to actually try to replenish some of the money that I've lost at the time. And I found this spot where you're saying, hey, you'll be able to try and like get money a bit quicker. I found a site where they were actually saying, hey, you can be able to try and make money this way. All you need is like an upfront commitment, and then you get a few people to actually do the same. So I listened to what the guys were saying. I remember going in on two sites. One of them, they had basically a site where they have you do like initiation fee, and you gotta basically recruit as many people as you can to actually counter the initiation fee that's there, and then they all do the same. And then there was another basically there was like another system where they had an initiation fee come by, where actually trained to sell certain products that they provide, and you'll be able to actually make additional money that way as well. Right, so it was within that time frame where I was trying to look to go back into school just to study and everything like that. And the first site that I went to, my dad was literally like losing his mind and literally acting fool, saying, "Oh, you're going to jail," and he's just literally going way berserk. And then that's when I was introduced by my mom about pyramid schemes, and I had no idea what they were at the time. Right, within, let's say, the following year, right, I was going to one of my friend's cousin's birthday party at the time. She was about to turn 23, 24, and she was about to hit up LA later that year. And we were basically having like a bunch of time. We're having like a shitload of fun and everything and all that up by Brooklyn, up by, I forgot which borough it was. It was like basically like up in like the southern shore of Brooklyn at the time. And I met this dude one time, and like we were basically like we ended up being like linking up and like being a little bit close friends and the whole 9 yards. He invited me to like one of his hookup spots probably within that following week. Stopped by his place, and they were actually presenting like the same stuff where you see like one guy recruiting another for like initiation fee, and then they got to do the same, and they got to continue the pattern over and over and over again, right? And I noticed a pyramid coming by, and they're saying, "Oh, it's not the pyramid scheme. It's just this basic system where you got to come by and get your initial money, and you'll be able to make the income that way." And that's when the light bulb and like the flame started actually hit up with questions, right? The following year, right, when I was going into around the second year of graduate school, I made like a young dude at the time who was around the same age, probably a few years older by, I'm going to protect his name for legal reasons, to try and protect his identity. Me and him were very cool. We had basically like a raffle where they bring out the CL lady, where they made a deal with the local Mercedes-Benz dealership that we lived nearby while we were raising, my dad was raising a nonprofit. And within months later, he also presented to me, we actually came by and we met up at a local Panera up where I live, right? He showed me the same model, right? Because, he's a little bit bummed out with like, him being where he's at and not making like enough money to actually try and fulfill his needs and where he wants to go. So he felt that system basically would actually take him far. And again, I see the same model, came by, stopped by, visited my mom the following day because they said he said he wanted me to actually be in the convention for them to support him and see what they do in the whole 9 yards, right? And mom basically said, hey, they told me, I told mom, but what they were saying, they said it wasn't a pyramid scheme, but based on what they said, and they don't sell any products, so it was like initiation fees. You already know she's gonna be saying it's a pyramid scheme, right? So that's what led me into thinking about all these weird ass practices on like how these pyramid schemes have come to play, right? So it's some insanity like really going into. So pyramid scheme, right? Many of y'all basically know about basic mathematics, basically know about exponents and exponential values, x to the nth power, right? Basically, a pyramid scheme is a guaranteed to fail system where you have basically like the Top Gun, the wannabe entrepreneur that's hell bent on greed and trying to make heavy get rich quick schemes due to the fact that homeboy or homegirl is very unhappy where he or she is at right now. So they try to make the get rich quick desperation scheme, which in reality there's no real true get rich quick scheme whatsoever, because it's very, very difficult to become a millionaire in the world. And look what's everything going on when it comes to inflation in the whole economy right now. It's really difficult unless you're trying to find a way to take some extreme risks and stand out. I digress. Let's get back to the point, right? So pyramid schemes, right? How does a pyramid scheme work, right? You got your Top Gun, right? He basically requires like an upfront deposit of X amount of money in order for the recruit to actually go down, and he seeks recruiters, to pitch into his own plan, and he may sell probably a few products in between to actually promote the stuff. And I will be discussing about the legal pyramid schemes as well in another episode on that, but I want to try and strictly focus on the illegals right now, right? So these types of schemes, they could disguise it as like social networking events, other social events. It could be gifts, right? It could be wannabe multi-level marketing events as well. It could even be, something like similar product when it comes to beauty, fashion, weight loss, protein shakes, the whole 9 yards, where they don't really sell much of the product, but they actually sell more try to bring more recruiters in than actually sell the product to the consumer, right? If you have a basic pyramid scheme, right, and they get the recruiters in, they pay their dues monthly in order to stay alive, and those recruiters now have to worry about meeting the quota, right? In order to get more people in to actually offset the payment, in order to offset the cost, so that they can try to make a profit, right? Simple formula, right? Profit equals revenue minus cost, right? So in order for them to actually get their revenue, they got to try and get as much recruiters as they can possibly to try and get as much revenue from them to try to offset some of the costs that they have to pay off with their top tier level, right? The upper tier guy. And the pattern continues down the block to the point where it expands exponentially to the point where if shit goes south and you see a bunch of people literally declining, because there will be a lot of people actually saying no on this, right? And unfortunately, shit could go south, right? One says no, eventually the whole system could be doomed to fail. They don't receive their dues. Now they in like a point like we gotta be dealing with debt. They have to actually work on the loss. And they don't have any product to sell, or actually little no product to sell, or they actually have to buy a product, or they have to buy an initiation fee. Eventually, the pyramid collapses, right? It implodes from within. And due to the fact that the system that they have, yes, they could the homeboys up top, they could live lavishly for like around, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4 years, right? But 5, 10 years, or even 15, 20 years from now, the way it keeps going and it starts to implode, that's when shit really goes south. And that's when, unfortunately, going to be seeing like a lot of very fumed, very fucking ticked off people. You know what I'm saying? And that's how motherfuckers lose their minds. And even, unfortunately, you got like some states and people coming by, and the people that actually getting ripped off by that scheme, they finally realize they're dealing with a scam. Right? They deal with scams like this. Now they're going to try and sue the guy and try and get the money back. And now the state and the feds got to get involved. You know what I'm saying? And we wonder why, pyramid schemes are illegal under state and federal law. Right? That's basically how a pyramid scheme works. So, with that, I'm going to try and make sure I get the words right. Because I know there's like a bunch of youngins, and I know there's like a bunch of people who are currently in vulnerable positions right now that are trying to do everything they can to make a quick buck out of life, right? But I need y'all to actually try and heed the signs. on whether or not that company is like legitimate or not, or they running over it under a legal pyramid scheme. Okay. If you see any type of pyramid that's actually being shown in their graphs, okay, with barely no product to sell, little no products actually being sold, or they make you do all these crazy conventions and all this selling stuff while not actually getting the leads, actually get all the recruiters and actually get the consumers to buy your stuff, it's the pyramid scheme, right? And even some of the people that actually had the stuff, they will say, oh, no, it's not a pyramid scheme. You're going to get something out of this guy. You know, you'll still be able to make the product. You'll still be able to try and live luxurious that you have. Fucking bullshit. Okay? Bullshit. All right? It is a fucking pyramid scheme. And I apologize for actually like literally going off and going crazy, but I want to actually stress it. I want to actually literally hit the point right home. It is a fucking pyramid scheme. Look at the graph that they have up here, and like with little to no product return. They don't have actually that much of a variety of products to sell. It's a goddamn fucking pyramid scheme. Alright? And my apologies for actually being very harsh to the ladies and gentlemen that are actually listening to this stuff, but I am stressing this stuff out heavily because of the impact that it can have on families. It can impact it have on a person's life financially, because that's time and money that they'll never ever get back. They can try to use on something else that's deemly very important. Right? God forbid, you know, a loved one is actually dealing with like hospital trauma and everything, and trying to need the money to actually deal with surgery, and they ain't got the surgery made because they invested some over like a fucking fraudulent scheme. Okay? And God forbid, now they ain't here no more. Right? It could be life or death. It could be life changing. It could be life impacting for families that have to struggle during this fucking bullshit scam. You know what I'm saying? And you wonder why. The folks that come by and the folks that actually stay in these scams thinking they're going to be getting something and everything. Yeah, they're going to be living life for like the next 2-3 years thinking that they're going to be millionaires and everything's going to be good. But when the feds are on your tail, when the feds watch your social media posts, when the state comes by and tracks all the shit that you do with all your money and they hem your ass up, come 5-10 years from now, shit ain't going to be pretty. Alright? They're going to get you heavy hard on fucking federal charges, state charges, where you could be literally at risk of being a damn felon, literally serving up to fucking 4 or maybe more years in federal prison if you're still involved in the scheme. Even if you're not running it, like if you're running it, yeah, you could be definitely getting the most time, but if you're involved in it, they could get your ass in there too. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be paying some hefty fines and fucking civil lawsuits and everything, not just on the state level, but on a federal level. Okay? And if you lie on the feds, if you lie on the FBI, anytime that money's involved, okay, please hear me well. The feds are in there. FBI is involved. FBI will be coming down to your state trying to ask some very serious questions in regards to that. So, if you can afford a lawyer in tour and have the lawyer actually speak to them, that's good. But if they catch you slipping on certain small lies that, you know, if you lie to the Fed even slightly, you know, the DOJ can get you hemmed up for that, right? They could get you charged up for lying to a federal officer, right? Which would carry up to literally like a 5-year sentence in federal prison. With the addition of possible money laundering crimes, wire fraud charges, securities fraud charges that they can hit you with in this time up in federal jail, right? It is some fucking serious shit. This is no fucking joke, all right? So please hear me when I say this, okay? You know, I hate the fact that I have to react in this way, but I need you guys to literally thoroughly get where I'm coming from, because I nearly was a sucker getting literally falling for this shit. You know what I mean? You know, there's many other ways that you could be making side hustles right now. Okay? You could be doing podcasting like me, right? Podcasting, you make serious bucks. It's all you're trying to develop a following. You know, if you develop something, you know, like crazy new enough, even true or false, if you can screw up some crazy bullshit, you can have like a shitload of following where you'll be able to try and make bank through ads. And you can easily net as easily as fucking 100K a year, which realistically, when it comes down to entrepreneurship and side hustles, few people, even in like the YouTube space or even in like the selling space, can make literally up to like 6 figures, 7 figures yearly. You know what I'm saying? That's how hard entrepreneurship is. But at least you'll be able to try and make some passive income on the way while you'll be able to try and do with the active income that you got. Right? You know, because people are going to be listening to yourself over time. People are going to be billing yourself over time while you out here literally busy working on other things. The podcast still rolls, right? YouTube, same thing, right? You can easily make some side money basically doing like some nonsense or even doing something that you love. And you can make your stuff easily get monetized from there. You can stuff get monetized through social media, through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. You know, you could be doing like freelance work. You could be doing like some side coding deals. You could be doing tutoring, right? You could be doing like delivery driving, like a DoorDash or Uber. You could do those things, right? You could even try to be a substitute teacher or be like an associate professor on like the side time off. Buy some stocks, hedge some stocks, buy some fucking real estate, you know? Invest in REITs, you know what I mean? Invest in all these big time corporate companies where they actually invest in apartments and you get a cut, you become like one of them stockbrokers up there. There are many ways to fucking do this shit, man. However, it's not gonna be easy. You know what I mean? And even with even with MLMs, right? The legitimate ones, which I will be discussing, they're not easy as well. You know what I mean? Because you gotta be literally trying to be like a margin quarter, try and break even with all the costs you have to pay off. And I will definitely be discussing that part in a future episode to come. So, with that being said, the advice I want to try and give y'all in closing, and I'm gonna reiterate this stuff again. You will be meeting people up in those networking events. You know, when you try to bring them the card, actually trying to seek an opportunity, trying to build to see who you are, but yet they want to try and know a little bit more of you and everything. And I'm not saying you have to try and be an asshole and be a complete dick to those people. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying, and pardon the dogs for actually barking, by the way. You know, we just chilling up in the house. I digress. What I'm basically saying is if you see someone that's trying to string you along, basically like some sort of bit instilled and not being fully honest and fully thorough on who they are and what company they have and what system they got, what system they went through just to get to position them off rip, or even get themselves a pamphlet off rip so that you'll be able to ask questions literally down the line over like a virtual call, it's not worth doing business with that person at all. You know what I'm saying? It's too risky. You know, you don't know what type of civil law, civil consequences or criminal consequences that can endure from that if you're not being thoroughly honest with your acquaintances, if those acquaintances aren't being thoroughly honest and fully transparent off rip on the dot at the same time with you instead of string your ass along. You know what I'm saying? Always be aware of that. Always be note of that. You know, steer clearly. Be respectful of them, yes, but steer clear, you know, from those types of folks, man. Because these are the folks that could be setting your ass up for failure or getting your ass jammed up in the criminal system up there. You know what I'm saying? They always sit around up in them networking events that you don't even know that they may be here. So with that, you know, do your research, do your thorough due diligence on the companies that they actually see. Make sure they have if they have a strong track record, if they have some controversy behind them. Always do your thorough due diligence when it comes to those things. And I will be discussing like the same points in another episode when it comes to the legal pyramid schemes. So with that being said, Christian from the Bob Chronicles signing out. Deuces, deuces, deuces.